Romeo, I wanted to bring you back on here and circle back with you on something you said yesterday. Romeo, one of our producers, was really authentic and transparent yesterday when he was telling us about the body image problems that he has and the struggle he had completing the debt that he had on a bet that he lost, where he had to go out to a street corner and he had to be half naked. And he was just telling us about how self-conscious he was about his body, about he's always sort of been pressured by his parents and called fat, right?
Kind of, yeah, like little comments here and there from not even just my parents, like my entire family, really. So
outside of that, the eating issue though, and the aesthetic of weight, you said something that I've never heard before on this show, which is super, super rare. You said you're embarrassed of your skin color.
Yeah, I think I was for a long time, and I think a shame in a lot of ways that word could be used as well. And I didn't. I guess I just never saw it as like a bad thing, but I was always like, I remember being like 10, 11, 12 years old and Googling like whitening creams for my body, and like what did Michael Jackson do pretty much to like figure out like a way to change my skin. And
for those that don't know, what is your ethnicity?
I'm Salvadorian, so I'm Hispanic, I'm Latino, I have brown skin, and so yeah, I guess.
Where does it start though? Like, so where? I mean, did kids make fun of you for your skin color growing up, and that's where the insecurity start? This is just something I've never heard of before.
I think so. I think it's weird because like I don't remember a lot of stuff from elementary school, but when I started thinking about this, because I was trying to like figure out what to say about it. I've never talked about this, so I'm like really like like nervous about it. And I heard a podcast, the Dak Shepard one, with Monica Padman and all that, and she talked about growing up in Georgia, and she's Indian, and she also talked about being embarrassed of being brown, and I was just like, whoa, like there's somebody out there that went through the same thing, and I felt so ashamed. And Googling stuff at 12 years old, how to change my skin color, and I started thinking like, well, where did it come from? And one of the things was, I remember elementary school, I liked this girl, she was white, and I remember she told me, oh no, I can't date you because you're brown. And I was just like, I remember that, but like it's so weird. Like I felt like for the longest time I just didn't care about it or whatever. But now looking back, it's like, okay, maybe that's kind of where it originated. But also just there's so much colorism when it comes to like being Hispanic, from Hispanic people as well. It's not just from everybody. It's everybody. Just there's something about you being darker. And I think it's also a thing in the black community, right? Where it's just like if you're darker, it's like it's almost like a bad thing.
Yeah, they separate dark skin and light skin in the black community all of the time, as if it's like a difference. So a lot of times being a brown skin or a darker skin black person, you'll get made fun of by light skinned black people because you're black, you're dark, or whatever the case. And a lot of brown skinned people grew up ashamed of that.
Does it go the other way also?
For light skin, sometimes, because a lot of times they'll make it seem as if you're light skin, you're kind of like, you're not smart, you don't really know much, you all about looks, and it's all about being pretty for you more so than you actually being a person of substance. So yeah, there is some separation with colorism in the black community for sure.
So in the Latino community, then, if you're darker skin, you're looked down upon?
Yeah, you're uglier. That's the best way to put it. Like, you're kind of uglier. And I remember, like, with my cousins, too, like, just all of us putting our hands next to one another to compare who was darker. And I was always the darker one. And so, like, I was always made fun for being darker. And, like, it's this thing where it's just, like, little comments that grew and grew. And I was just, like, I felt embarrassed. Like, I remember wearing, like, hoodies. I wear long sleeves in high school just because I would try to hide as much as, like, I would never wear shorts because I was just trying to hide as much as possible that I could.
Yeah, there's even been like athletes who have thrown parties where they've only invited a certain like complexion of women to the party. Yeah, you couldn't get into the party if you were darker.
So there's somebody at the door going, "You're too light" or "You're too dark."
They don't say it like that. Yeah, but they letting you in if you a certain complexion only.
That's like making the default beauty standard like as pale as possible, which isn't the case. I mean, white people are tanning like crazy, so it's not, and it's unfair.
Yeah, and it's, we talked about representation in our movies and TV shows, and I think that I just never grew up with seeing anybody. The only person that I ever saw with, like that was looking like me was George Lopez and Mario Lopez. That was the only two guys that I grew up with that were like, you know, but Disney Channel, like it was all white families.
You didn't see us. Yeah.
So
no representation.
Kids that may be struggling with the same thing you did, would you consider yourself in a better place now, or do you still struggle with that?
I think I still struggle with it every once in a while, but I think I'm more comfortable now, and I love my brown skin, and I enjoy it. And I mean, like Davi said, there's white people trying to look like me, so I think I'm still working on it. So I don't know if I have advice.
The Bert Show.